KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Good to meet each and every one of you on today's show. We've got lots of things happening, and the question of the day, what's happening next in life, and what is happening around the world, and what is happening this weekend that is honestly just fun to talk about. Let us know in social media where you're tuning in from. We love it when you guys share alike. Sometimes you guys share in group chats and in others. Let's get this party started as much as we can. There's a lot of things going on, and here in the home front in LA, oddly enough, it almost feels like there's more and more things. It's almost like we're going down in the days of Gotham, where everybody is a villain around the corner. I kid you not. I've been wondering what is going on. Are we going to have, certain people going to save us? Because even right now, I'm hearing sirens outside. It's almost a very common occurrence every single day. And if you believe certain news articles and certain news agencies about how homicides are up, killings are up, hit and runs are up, everything is up, you go, why would everything be up if people are more home than not, right? Because I go in certain cities, because I drive a lot, and in certain cities there's hardly any vehicles in some cities, and then other cities there's a lot of vehicles, right? And I frequent LA area a lot lately, and I see, again, a lot of people out in the streets, but I say, why is everybody attacking everybody? Because I guess Venice Beach, people were attacked there, and I almost want to say, you see, everything we talk about on this show is happening, but in a weird way. It's never been this bad. We got Jesse Sanchez over there. Jesse, what's going on?
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. Honestly, the last time I went to Venice, which was like almost 20 years ago, I was not impressed. It looked like trash to me, but apparently it's famous. People like going there. I don't.
Yeah.
And it gives me creepy vibes. It's just there's tons of homeless people, and yeah, it just doesn't look safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and look, here's the headline, okay? For those wondering, and I follow ABC7LA on Instagram. It's the quickest way to get some information. Just see something at a glance. Uh, Two tourists robbed, one shot after trip to Venice Beach, and this is because of them visiting for the Super Bowl festivities. Yeah. So the LAPD says two tourists were accosted at gunpoint near Venice Beach by two gunmen wearing black ski masks. So we're back to that, Jesse. We're back to black ski masks. I'm like, are we really going thug, thug, thug? Like, that's thug, right? Anyone that wears black ski masks, technically that's a thug. One of the tourists was shot after refusing to give up, get this, a Cartier watch. Yeah, Cartier watches can be replaced. All right.
I don't know what a Cartier. Let me Google that.
Yeah, Google Cartier. Okay. Now, as you Google that, look at how much a Cartier watch goes for. Now, the question of the day is, who buys watches anymore? Do you know how hard it is to sell watches nowadays? Like, you probably can get. It's kind of like those jewel people yesterday that we saw on TikTok, which also made the news, front row and center. From a different angle, which I guess one of the shop owners was taking video because they show them very, very clear, and that made the headline. So I guarantee at least three of those people will probably be locked up by the end of next week. But Cartier watches go anywhere from how much, Jesse? Do you see how much they are?
Ah, yes. Okay. So when you wear a car on your wrist, what do you expect?
This is what we talked about yesterday. There are some things you should just not wear anymore, man.
I mean, I'm looking at the prices. So the lowest one I see is around 6 grand, but then they go as high as 40,000. So I'm just like, what kind of watch were they wearing? Like, if it was anything under 10 grand, I'd be like, here, take it, whatever. But I'm assuming it's one of these more expensive ones. But yeah, when people are desperate, you're wearing a car on your wrist. What do you expect?
Well, they're from Florida. I just see that right now.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Well, hold up. They were from Florida here, visiting here. It's like us visiting Florida, Jesse. It's not that way. And evidently, let's see, one of them were shot in the leg. So these guys had guns, right? They were walking to their rental car after spending the day at the beach in the Venice neighborhood when two men wearing black ski masks approached them. Suspects demanded the man's Cartier watch, and when he refused, they shot him in the leg and drove off in a white sedan. Okay, so they might know a little bit of that. They headed northbound on Dell Boulevard. The man was taken to hospital in unknown conditions, unclear if his girlfriend was injured. This is the latest there. So I guess there's more information on that. And so they post what a Cartier watch is, because honestly, a lot of people, I think, kind of forgot what Cartier watches are, right? So I'm going to bring this up.
I've
And
never
just
even heard of it, but obviously it's a high-end jeweler. That's why I've never heard of it.
Well, yeah. Again, guys with watches like this usually have money. Okay, but here's the funny thing: a lot of them are knockoffs lately. It's easy to get a knockoff watch that looks Cartier. Okay, but these guys obviously know watches, and I guess they have a supplier or something. I'm gonna flash this up here, a kind of a Cartier watch. They're nice watches. Okay, they're very luxury, and I've worn nice watches because I was part of a award show gifting suite thing, and they were letting people honestly have watches for free, just to brand them, because of influencers and such. They had all these influencers come as a gifting suite. I think it was for the MTV Movie Awards, can't remember. But if you had this and they say, "Give me your watch," I don't know what happened in the middle of it. It's easy to say, okay. Yeah, Mark Blevins says 40,000 for a Cartier watch, and then he goes agog. I don't know what that means. He thought they'd be like 15,000. Yeah, there's less as like $3,000, which I don't know what the resale value is. Jesse, what's up with that?
No, I went to the Cartier website, so I'm just like, okay, I see a bunch of low price watches. All right, so I rearranged it so that all the high price ones would go up top. Oh my God, these things reach into the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, weird,
I
right?
I was not even aware. I don't know these high-end luxury brands like Gucci or what's the other one that people keep saying? Louis Vuitton. There you go. Like all these name brands, they're like luxury brands. I've never heard of these places, or I don't care about these things, so
No.
that's why I don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, these things are just. But to me, they're all ugly. That's the thing. I don't understand how people would pay money for this, but whatever.
Well, it's a status symbol.
There you go. It's a
Okay.
status.
Yeah,
Have
it's a
trash.
status symbol. And back in the day of like the 80s, the 90s, shoot, even the 70s, if you remember like movies like Superman or something, you'd have the thug be like, give me your jewelry, right? Give me your watch, because they would pawn it off to get some money at maybe a pawn store, right? Or a pawn shop. And if you took one in, they may take it on now, but honestly, they like things that they can resell really quick. When you go into a pawn shop, do you ever want to buy a watch like this? Honestly, I think the answer is no, unless you want a status symbol that you think girls like. Okay, now there are girls out there that when they see a Cartier, oh, they know. They act like they don't know. They know, okay? That means you got money, and guys like to wear that to attract the ladies, okay? Now, in saying that, there are some men that just like watches. I like watches that are practical, okay? But never that much, ever. I've never bought a watch over maybe. Do you remember the little calculator ones that they used to have back in the day, the Casios?
Oh yes, yes. I like those watches.
I saw that as practical, and I saw that as something that I could use at school. Until they were like, you can't use those on tests. I'm like, darn it! Like, it's right there. So to me, an Apple Watch makes more sense for resale value than a Cartier watch. But I think the focus here should be, if you have a watch. Rosalie just tuned in. She goes, "Good morning. What's the topic?" Rosalie, we're going to show this to you, okay? If Jesse and or I wore this, and or your man wore this, what would you think, okay? And is it worth your life at the end of the day to hold on to when you're held up at gunpoint and they want your watch and then they shoot you? Is it worth it? Excuse me, I burped in the middle of that sentence. I apologize. having Dr. Pepper. It's really good. So my point is this. Is it worth it? Because this happened in Venice Beach. Wait, do you have Dr. Pepper too?
Yeah, I have a Dr. Pepper right next to me.
We both have Dr. Pepper. Wait, show it. This looks like one of those. You have ding ding ding. Show it more of the full screen. There you go. There it is. Full screen. There it is. We both have Dr. Pepper. Totally not sponsored by Dr. Pepper. We're Dr. Pepperanians. That's hilarious. That's our drink of choice. But my point is this, people. Let's see. Mark says agog or agag is adjective, very eager or curious to hear or see something. I'm all agog to see London. Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that was a word. My point is this. Okay. People are getting desperate out there. Don't let them take over your watches, people. Unless you have a gun.
Right? It's more or less just be aware of your surrounding and situation, especially if somebody's following you.
Yeah.
As sad as it is to say, it is what it is now, especially in some of these major cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth your life. Look, just let it go. Just let it go. If you ask for what, let it go. Right? Just let it go. Okay, it's not worth your life. I don't know if they would have shot him anyway. But again, this is in Venice Beach, which already is kind of going down. But when tourists get hurt, that's not good for everyone. And that's how they kind of sold it. They said, "Are tourists safe in LA?" And I'm like, LAnians are not safe. I mean, who's who's selling this stuff? But there you go. Yeah, he was walking with his girlfriend back to the rental car. You know, so evidently he was showing her around. But there you go. I wonder if she had a purse or something. You know what I mean? Like, why? You know? Oh well, he went to a hospital in Marina Del Rey. His condition is unknown. Okay. All right. So it looks like he didn't die. I think the early reports were that, you know. Oh, I see. One shot after trip to Venice Beach. Yeah. Okay. So that's the current thing. But there you go. But ski masks, and this is getting pretty desperate and very like back to the 80s ish, right? So I don't know what to say about that other than thieves everywhere. Be ready for Batman to come out and just do some head knocking, because that's where we're going, man. What is going on with the people of the world? Everything's up. Cops aren't doing the right thing. You know how easy it is to lock up those people that Jesse was talking about yesterday? I'm going to show you guys a little bit of this, because I'm a little upset. I'm not going to lie. It's not that hard. I'm going to give everybody an easy breezy here, because I can't go up north because it's in, like, near San Francisco area, the one that we were talking about yesterday. And I'm going to show you here what I follow. Again, I follow our friends at ABC, because, well, they're our friends, period, end story. And, you know, sometimes people don't understand when these things happen. It's a slow roll to just stuff that's going to happen long term for us. This is in Merced, California. Okay, this is a smash and grab robbery. To revisit this, cell phone video shows about a dozen people, which we count about 18 to 20 on the other video that was posted on TikTok, which you can see the Ella Jewelry store across the way, which they took the video from across the way. We showed that yesterday. So this one shows them busting glass display cases and stealing merchandise. These are, in essence, thieves. Okay? Grouped up thieves. And not as organized as most. One has the I Love New York. I know New York is like, please don't love us. We don't want you in our backyard. But if you were an officer of the law and you wanted to lock up these thieves, what would you do? And I just want to see what you guys' social media say. What would you do? Because I want detectives' minds here just for a minute. What would you do to get these people locked up? Now, it's hard to see their faces. They all have, which we live in a time where face masks, you almost want to say, no more face masks, man. You know what I mean? Like, no more of that. Because thieves are like, yeah, I don't have to show my face, which is the easiest thing. So they get away with a lot of little pieces of jewelry. What would you do? Now think with, like, I don't know, do you like to watch Law and Order or any cop shows, Jesse?
I do not. I do not watch any of those shows.
Okay. I like to see what people think. Like, how would you catch these people if you were an officer or a cop? And it's very simple. Did you see those sledgehammers? How expensive are those sledgehammers?
Right, they are not a cheap item. So considering it looks like almost all of them have them, uh, were these things on sale?
Well, that's my point, right? Right? But they had to go buy them somewhere.
Right, find someone that had like a bulk purchase or something. I'd be
There
like,
you go. Yep, go to the local hardware store, maybe Home Depot, maybe Lowe's, maybe the local hardware guy around the block and or within at least a 3-mile radius. Visit all those, see their purchases for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks, and then say, okay, point of sale purchase, we need those guys, those guys, those guys. Anybody that sells one of those, or at least 3 of those, or 4 of those, or 5 of those, or 6 of those, maybe 6 to 8 of those, all at once, go investigate those guys, boom, solve the case. It's that simple. Okay, it's that simple. Now, are detectives going to be on this? I don't know. They should. This is not something you want to keep happening. Okay, and a lot of people are going away with. Remember that lady that had the pickaxe at the I think it was a CVS or Walgreens, and she was like, "Hey yo!" And she had like her little briefcase with her and stealing stuff, putting stuff in her bag. And everyone's like, "I'm not going to approach you because you have a pickaxe." These thieves are getting real, man.
they are. They're getting just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna like. She seriously just chose a random item out of her like a shed or something. I'm surprised she didn't come back with like a shovel or a hoe. Oh wait, that sounds weird.
No, I
Uh,
know what you mean. I know what you mean. For gardening people everywhere. Mark Lemon says, hashtag law and order. Dun dun. I love that show. I really do. I like to figure out the case. Anyway, it's that easy. It's that easy. That's what I would do as an officer, as a cop, as a detective, as a server protect guy or gal. I'd say, okay, let's do that. Let's go find them. And it's as simple as that. Doesn't take rocket science, people, but sometimes it's almost like, why do you guys wonder? You know, they're going to go for fingerprints, maybe, but they wear gloves, so they're smart enough to wear gloves, right? Well, go
oh,
ahead, Jesse.
okay. Scour social media. How long until one of these dumb people says, "Oh, guess what I did a couple weeks back?" Or
Or flashes jewelry
exactly.
in the
Oh my.
Merced area.
That's like to me, that's like one of the worst things that you can steal. Why would you steal jewelry? It's not easy to sell. You're not going to get the value of it unless you melt it all down, but you would have to have like a forge and it just takes time.
Well, I guarantee you, some of these guys have girlfriends, okay, and they're going to want to impress. So in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to see like, oh, look what my beau got me.
That's right.
Valentine's Day gift.
Exactly.
Right? Think about it.
They were just Valentine's Day shopping. That's it. Oh my God. I don't feel bad for them now.
You get it? You get it? I guarantee you there's going to be 3 or 4 guys going to be like, hey, honey, look what I got you for Valentine's. And she's going to be like, oh, Valentine's. And then she's going to flash it, like, look at my new necklace. And then all of a sudden somebody goes, so question of the day, where did you get the necklace from? My boyfriend. We had Valentine's Day and it was awesome. And everybody's like, boom, lock him up, right? I guarantee you that's going to happen. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things happening, and there it is. Let's see. Rosalie says, so I just learned that was in Merced, my neighbors. LOL. I've been in stores where thieves run out with a bunch of clothing. Oh, really? Good to know. Security can't do anything as soon as they walk out. True. After seeing this video, first thought was someone working there must know them because they didn't do anything, but there were so many, it was best they didn't do anything. Yeah, and that's the reality. I don't feel anybody there did know, because when you have so many people come at you like that, what are you going to do, right? They obviously cased the area for the last 3 weeks. I would look at all security cameras and look for people that entered, looked at it, watched it, and then said, okay, these are the hours that we're going to go in. Those are probably the frontline guys. You get those guys, you get everybody, okay? It says, because they didn't do anything, but they're, let's see, right on the sledgehammers, but if they paid cash, that wouldn't help. They would be wearing masks there too. But more often than not, well, actually, you got a point. They don't probably pay cash and customers. But more than not, they sometimes don't wear their face masks out in public. Think about it. When they're buying things. You would think people are organized like that and are very like high-end organized people. These are not, Because if you're organized, you're not going to go with a crew of 8 to 12 people, which I think is more like 14, 15, 16 people. You just don't. And then how is everybody going to sell them? Are you going to sell them all to different people? Are you going to like all go to the same pawn shop? Like, who's your supply guy and how much are they going to pay you? I guarantee you tops, probably $3,600. Some would say $36,000, but you don't understand. These jewelry stores mark it up so much that honestly, you have to get on credit. They make more money on credit than they do selling you in cash. And even then, it's a huge markup. So, anyway, people are getting weird out there, man. So be safe, all right? All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Whew.
This is Bernadette, the host of One Life Radio, your number one source for alternative and holistic health since 2011. One Life Radio is designed to educate and inspire. Visit us at oneliferadio.com because you get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there today and make the most of it. Tune in weekdays at 1 p.m. on 1490 KMET Smart Talk, ABC News Radio.
Ruth didn't know she was leaving for good. She knew he would kill her. Could she save herself? Did she feel she was worth saving? How could she best protect her children? To love, honor, and betray, Ruth Tunnicliffe shares her true tale. From submissive to survivor, then thriver. Now living a proud, purposeful life as an optimistic, inspiring, peaceful warrior. Can a person heal from feeling the guilt of a decision altering many lives? Weighted by living grief, moving through lessons learned, self-discovery, and land in self-love? Can someone who's been abused in every way move to self-trust, confidence, and arrive at living in peace? To love, honor, and betray, a sincere, honest letter. To herself and her adult children, Ruth Tunnicliffe shares her story so that others may also find the inspiring, peaceful warrior within. Amazon worldwide, Barnes & Noble, RuthTunnicliffe.com.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff in spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at HIEBanning.com.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
When you want the best performance for your vehicle, think only of Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, right off the I-10 and 60 freeways. Check out Scott's complete list of performance products on their website at hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers can recommend ways for your car or truck to get better gas mileage and cut down on emissions. Need your car or truck to pass smog only? Go to Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont. Find out all of your questions on vehicle performance by logging on to hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, hdrinfo.com.
Welcome back. It is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Rosalie says one of them will cheat on their girlfriend and bam, she'll talk. You know what? That's true. Sometimes you got several girls over there, huh, Jesse? You never know.
Right? Lesson learned. Don't make your girlfriend mad.
That's very true. That's very true. I say, you know, I could see there were a few ladies there with the men in that situation, but I'm saying this just to save the rest of the crew. Okay, seriously, you might run with a crew like that until one of them gets locked up, and then all of a sudden everybody doesn't want to get locked up, and all of a sudden everybody kind of goes like, oh shoot, are they gonna really do this? Because you never think past the following week. You never do. you think, oh, okay, nobody's going to know us, nobody's going to know us, nobody's going to know us. And I guarantee they all frequent this mall. I guarantee they all know that mall. I guarantee they're all locals, okay? That's a lot of locals. What people don't think about are the families of the locals, right? The fathers, the mothers, the sisters, the brothers, the people that know these people, but honestly do not want to visit them in jail eventually, because that is where they're all going. When you lock up 1, you lock up 3. When you lock up 3, you lock up 6. When you lock up 6, you lock up 8. When you lock up 8, you get everyone, okay? But if 1 gets locked up and then they go, dude, where's Joey? That means Joey's life is in danger because all of them know him and his family. So then it goes next level eventually, right? In order not to obviously out the front leaders. So you have to go after the front row men. Once you get after those guys, then you'll be good. So that's where the officers have to be very careful. They have to understand who is in the lead. Let the guy go, or girl go, but I think they're going to get a guy first. And then just say, okay, we don't want you in harm's way because you're not the front row guy. We want your families to be safe. And then they get the front row guys, the guys that are offering the money or the deal or whatever they roped everybody else in. And it's very easy to know the front row guys because those are the guys that came up with the idea and then gave the suggestion that said, here's the sledgehammers, we all go together. They can't stop all of us, right? Guarantee you that was the conversation. So I was like, yeah, you know, yeah, right? Until they all get locked up. And then we see it on the news. All right, and then you see the families. God, Joey, what did you do? So that's going to happen, and when that happens, we're all going to go, well, sucks to be you. You never go with a big crew like this. Robbers, when they go with like 3 or 4 people, usually rarely get found out because they keep their information very tight. Now, when they get like suspect again and again and again and again and again, well, then officers finally do the right thing, and they finally case certain joints, and they finally get involved, and they finally get robbers eventually. But if it's like a one thing done, and then they go to another city or another state, then they get away usually for years. But when they keep hitting same areas, it becomes a pattern. When it becomes a pattern, it's easy for officers to figure that out eventually. It just has to be a high priority case. But I'm not sure the situation in Merced. I'm pretty sure it's probably bad in Merced for several people. Rosalie says they are going to do this again. They got that adrenaline going and think they got away with it and are going to hit another store soon. Watch. And I can see that happening within the next 3 to 4 weeks. It usually takes about that time for you to figure out, hey, I need to get paid. I need, I got all this jewelry. I gave away one to my girlfriend, but now I need money because that's why I did it in the first place, right? Because I guarantee these are desperate thieves, okay? They all have lives. They have to eat. They have to put food on the table. They have to have money, okay? Some of them might have a drug habit. Some of them might have other things that they got to pay off, maybe a vehicle or something else. So they're hoping to get paid a lot of money. They'll be like, look at all this stuff I have. But at the end of the day, who's going to buy it in bulk? Honestly, not many, okay? And if they do, they don't want to have stuff that is very public. This stuff is all registered. That's what they don't understand. Jewelry stores have registered stuff. So if you go with a local pawn or a local supposed like supplier of money or cash, you're not going to get much for it. So that's going to be the interesting thing to see, because I think they're thinking like, hey, we're going to get thousands of dollars because we got all this jewelry. It's not going to work that way. They're going to be disappointed. When they get disappointed, then they're going to say, well, why do we do this? And then some will do it on their own with maybe 3 others to say, we don't need frontman, Robert or whatever his name is. We don't need that guy. We'll just do it on our own. And then they go next level. So there you go. Sorry, I'm hearing firecrackers outside. I don't know what the heck's going on. Sounds like an explosion of firecrackers.
No, you know what? That makes sense, because honestly, if I was them, I'd want to keep the momentum, but I would do it like in a city not near Merced at all. Yeah, there's too much heat over there, so I would choose somewhere some close, but not too far. So we'll see. Well,
the fact is, you're a thinking man who doesn't do this, but these are thinking people that are doing this just out of
right. And it's just like, first off, yeah, I would not do jewelry. That's the number one thing. I would not take certain electronics like Apple products. Those are useless, because once Apple has those products that are because everything's listed on Apple, so they can just like, disable that product. So it's just like, yeah, you have to know what you're gonna steal and know how to fence it.
Yeah, people that steal laptops. I've had a lot of people get their laptops stolen. That has a big resale value. MacBooks have a huge resale value. And so I always tell people, especially if you go like to the gym or you go to places where kind of, I will say, the smarter thieves understand, because they know if you're going into the gym, you're going to be in there for a minimum of an hour, right? Minimum. So they know they have about that time to smash and grab your vehicles. I've had that happen to several friends, including our host, Kelly V. Dolan. She's had that happen several times, I think, while she was at the gym. And that taught me really quick, they case gyms. So if there are guards or there are guard duties, it would be good to be aware of that, because this is going to pick up again at some point. I guarantee it. But these are the people that are really, you need to lock them up quick and fast, because back to people that rob people at gunpoint or at knife point or just any which way, these are the people that have no conscience. They're ready to go next level. And if they go next level, they go next level with elderly ones. They have no ethics. There are thieves out there that have ethics, okay? There are thieves out there that say, no, I will steal for the money, but I will not hurt people in the end, right? There's that. But these are the ones that just do not care. And each time they do it, as Rosalie mentioned, they will do it again and again and again, and they just will not care. So that's where it's like, okay, it's sometimes like weird to talk about. Sometimes I find the humor in it. It's weird. But then I get into the brain of something. I go, yeah, you're so bottom feeder. Why are you bottom feeding that stuff, right? Because I guarantee you, like, thieves that, like, okay, art thieves or jewelry thieves of, like, expensive stuff, right? Like, go watch, okay, I'll give you a good movie to watch, okay? Ocean's 12 with Sandra Bullock, okay? And yeah, I know, it's Sandra Bullock, so I'm already a fan. But that is a smart movie, but they get a crew of, what, 8 people, right? I think, I remember, because it was based on Ocean's 8 or something like that. I don't know. But with Kate Blanchett, right, and a few others. It's a good show. Have you ever seen it?
You're talking about Ocean's 8 or 10? I don't remember. It's the one with Sandra Bullock, right?
Yeah. Well, Ocean's 8 was the one, but she plays I think...
the sister of Danny Ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, it's Ocean's 12. Yeah, which is, but no, that...
there's like Ocean's 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah. So, well, the Ocean's...
I don't even know. She's in Ocean's 8. I'm pretty sure it's 8.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. Ocean's 12 is the one with... Yeah, I just looked it up. I'm dumb.
That's Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Or she's Ocean's 13. Wait, which one is it?
There's too many. My favorite caper movie, though, would be the one with... what's his name? Great. We're naming movies, and I can't even remember it. It's with Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, it's Ocean's 8. You're right. They only work with 8. Oh, Pierce Brosnan? Oh, man, they have so many of those. He has a good one, now that I think about it. You're right.
There was one where he was like an expensive art thief. Oh, man, yeah. He stole with class.
Yeah, that's my point. Thank you. And that's smart thieves, okay? Those are the ones that like, they know they don't want to get caught.
The
right?
Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, yeah, the Thomas Crown Affair. Really good movie with Rene Rousseau.
Yes.
Yeah, those ones make me think, okay, if I were ever a thief, what would I do to never get caught, right? And they go big, right? They go millions of dollars of stuff, right? These guys are so bottom feeders that even like when they get into prison, they're gonna feel stupid. Okay, so what are you in here for? I robbed a Zales. How long are you in here for? 4 years.
Don't drop the soap.
There you go. You know, like, dude, you're in that crew, not our crew. You know, because when you go to prison, there are crews. Trust me. You know, you get hit up. You're you know, you want protection? We'll give you protection, but we're not gonna claim you guys. You know, it's gonna go bad for them. Seriously, they're not gonna be happy in prison. I guarantee you. Patricia says, yes, think about people willing to rob banks. They will target people without any issue at all. Steffi says, that's why I have my gym in my finished basement and a big open field behind my house for my runs, because you can't trust no one these days. Stephanie, more than you know. Okay, we got to take a quick little break. Rosalie says Fresno next. Yeah, I can see that happening. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Stay safe out there, people. Yikes.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
Together We Are Strong is a product brand which stands for unity, equality, and protecting voting rights. Shop now at TogetherWeAreStrong.com for t-shirts, hats, and coffee mugs. All voting rights profits are donated to Rock the Vote, an organization on a mission to empowering young voters. Become an activist without saying a word. TogetherWeAreStrong.com. Make a difference in America and the world. Shop online at TogetherWeAreStrong.com. Give the gift that helps drive change. Go visit TogetherWeAreStrong.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state? Did you miss sending out a prior year tax return? The IRS is out to collect now more than ever, and they'll use any means necessary. They legally can and will garnish your wages, take your money, and even seize your property. If you're behind on your taxes, call the Tax Relief Hotline right now at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000. You can legally get your tax debt under control, and in many cases, get the breathing room you need. Garnished wages, property seizures, bank levies can stop immediately, but you have to call. Many of our specialists are IRS enrolled agents. They know the system and how to make it work for you. Don't wait for the IRS to come down on you. Act now so you can get your tax debt under control. Call the Riverside office today for free info at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the #1 choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to PennyandAssociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM, and we're getting information about Bob Saget, which sadly is something that I think people really need to be aware of. I know, Jesse, you were upset when Bob Saget passed away, as well as other people that have passed away in the last few weeks.
They have news?
Huh?
So they have news. Please don't be drugs. Don't be drugs.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, no. And I know what you mean by that. Yeah. So the family confirmed, and if you see his wife, oh my God, his wife was so beautiful and so loving and just so kind and so just awesome in a way that you think, wow, he really had a good life. But to find this out, it's got to be like, whoa. And I'm going to share this for everyone because you never know when this may happen. They say, according to the autopsy, definitely no drugs or alcohol were involved. Okay, so that's number one. But they said he was dead due to head trauma. Now, yeah, I know. Just wait for it. The family said that authorities have concluded that he accidentally hit the back of his head on something, thought nothing of it, and went to sleep. Now, in light of that, Dr. Leanna Nguyen, who is an emergency physician and visiting professor of health policy and management at the George Washington University Milken Institute School of Public Health, said to a news agency why it's so important to remain vigilant after a head injury. She said, when you hit your head, you could have bleeding in different ways. An epidural hematoma is a type of brain injury. You can also have a subdural hematoma, another possibility as well. Now, for example, another actress died in the same way. Natasha Richardson died of an epidural hematoma. at the age of 45 after a ski accident in Mont-Tremblant, Canada. Wen said a subdural hematoma is a very common hematoma. Both of these are when veins are ripped from a head injury that causes pooled blood to put pressure on the brain. Now, the family confirmed that he died of head trauma. It's important to note that the autopsy report wasn't released yet, but that Dr. Wen said she doesn't know exactly how that happened or how the nature of it happened. It's unclear how he hit his head and whether or not he experienced any disorientation before going to sleep. But they note that there are some important steps you could take if you think you've hit your head badly. She said, if you have a substantial head injury, tell someone. Call your doctor if you're particularly worried, but you should at least tell someone, and don't be alone. That way somebody can help you, monitor you, and make sure you're okay. She said, be extra careful. She says, I would err on the side of caution, especially if you're someone at higher risk. If you are on any kind of blood thinners, if you're older, you also have a higher risk of bleeding in the brain. According to neurosurgery, Novant Health, Joshua Marcus said patients who are on blood thinners or antiplatelet medication, any type of blood thinner, are high-risk patients who really need to be pretty vigilant anytime they hit their head and really seek medical attention. We're more aggressive with getting CAT scans for those patients than we would be for younger patients, which is where it's more rare to have catastrophic head injuries. Marcus, who did not treat or examine Saget, notes that there are steps you can take even when you are alone after hitting your head. They say there are certain symptoms that you want to look out for following hitting your head. Anytime you lose consciousness, even if it's very brief, or you're amnestic, or you don't remember the event. I'm not going to lie. When that guy attacked me, I blacked out. I don't remember him. It's like my whole 1 minute he was coming at me. The next minute I was like bleeding. And somebody said, do you need help? And I was like, huh? Like I knew what happened before that, but I completely blacked out. I don't know how many minutes I was unconscious for. So I get that. But they said, or any type of confusion. He also says to pay attention to any associated nausea, vomiting. Those are concerning symptoms. If you develop any sort of weakness or numbness or seizure-like activity, which I'm not going to lie, that's how my grandma actually died. She had a seizure and she bludgeoned her head. And then she ended up going to the hospital, but they said she was brain dead. So, and that was after several seizures. So I don't know if he had a seizure and maybe like passed out and hit his head. Because I've had that happen, honestly, even to my stepfather. All of a sudden, he blacked out, hit the side of the bed, which was all wood, and bludgeoned his face so much he looked like a raccoon. Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. He went to the hospital and they admitted him, but he was like, I don't know, I just blacked out. And it was really bad. So I've seen people, including my mom. I remember my mom one time, she came back home because she was walking the dog, and she's like, I think I passed out. I'm like, huh? And I'm always like, if you feel woozy or you feel weird, don't go outside, because she literally hit the ground and she was all bruised up on the left-hand side. And I'm like, Mom, be careful. Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. I thought like, oh no, people are going to think, I did something, and I did nothing. But, and she told some friends and she was fine with it. This happened like 4 or 5 years ago. And she still talks about it today, because you never know when you're going to be alone. All of a sudden you pass out. And she's had a couple moments, bouts of just like all of a sudden on the floor. And I'm like, what's going on? So now this is making me go, are you okay? But, eat, get your blood sugar right, don't pass out, and be careful with it. What do you think of there, Jesse? You're very contemplative.
No, I thought that was a joke. Like, if you have a concussion, don't go to sleep because you might die or something. I thought that was just like a warning or something like that. I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, they say, and this is true. I remember when I came home after being bludgeoned in the head, right, myself, my mom was like, be careful. You got to be up every 3 to 4 hours. I'm like, Mom, trust me, I'm going to be fine. I'm always ready to die. I tell people this. They don't believe it. I'm just like, look, man, I'm okay. I'm done. I had my life. I'm good. Big deal. Move on. At the same time, I tell people, move on anyway and get through everything. When it's your day, then it's your day. But I'm okay for the day. I've had so many accidents where I always thought, oh, this is going to be it. I'm going to be dead. So I'm almost to that point where I've almost accepted it, right? I had a huge car accident. I had a concussion on the front. And I remember feeling sick, but I went to the hospital. I was bruised up, my arm, everything. I healed from that, thank God. But it took about 8 months or so to really completely heal. And then having the last car accident. That was bad. But I thought she was going to be dead, and she wasn't, thank God, the lady that hit me. And then this attack, as of recent, I'm like, man, how many blows can you take to the head? Really, right? But in this case, you have to be careful. And it says here, extrapolating from studies on concussed or concussion athletes, the doctor recommends to stay awake, here it is, for 2 to 3 hours after the head injury to make sure none of these symptoms present themselves, knowing that athletes with concussions are urged to keep themselves awake and be monitored for about 3 hours after the injury. So mine was in the afternoon, so I was awake 100%, right? Well, it wasn't in the afternoon, it was like 10 a.m., but, I was awake, obviously, the whole day. Within an hour or two, presumably a head injury could progress, and that's what you're trying to look out for. After that time frame, he says, I don't think there's a significant risk that something worse is going to happen. I would say 3 to 4 hours, okay? And if you do go to sleep, you should be woken up every 3 to 4 hours just to say, okay, are you okay? But if you have nausea, that's usually a concussion. And concussion should be looked after, but rarely do they admit you into the hospital for that. So back to brain injury and or brain bleeding. That may have been what happened here. He may have had possibly brain bleeding through even, there's so many things that could cause that, like a, what do you call it? When the veins pop. An aneurysm.
Oh, okay, that was the word that was coming to my head.
Yeah, an aneurysm. He may have had an aneurysm in tandem with, and I've had friends that have had that. I had one very good friend. She was a co-host of ours, Mabel, and her mother suffered from this once. And she wasn't able to fly back home because she had a brain aneurysm. And so she went to the hospital. They did research. They saw it, and they monitored it very closely. And they made sure to take care of it. But they're like, don't go into a plane because high pressure will not be good for your brain. So she had to stay, even though she's from New Jersey, and she had to stay for a good, I want to say, 6 months with her daughter because she had suffered from a brain aneurysm. And it was subtle at first, but when, she took her mother to the hospital, so pre-COVID, obviously, it was like, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. She took care of it. She took care of her mother, and she made sure, Mom, you're not flying home. You're not flying home. Not in this condition. You're not flying home. And she did the right thing by her mom. But having Bob in this condition, he was obviously touring, right, as he's used to doing, as most comedians are used to doing. So he probably thought, oh, I'll be fine if he did end up going to sleep after, like most people do, right? He probably wondered why he passed out. And some people get anemic. Some people get, like, low blood sugar. Some people need more iron in the diet. Otherwise, they feel faintish. And I've had that happen with, honestly, an ex. And I was like, you got to eat, you got to eat, you got to eat. Because she'd be like, ready to pass out. And I'm like, no, you got to eat. And it was always like, just get fruit sugar in your body and or protein. Usually like one of those vanilla shakes that you buy, like Odwalla or something. And or chocolate and or vanilla, whatever you like. And just get that in your system, and then you'll feel fine. Have some grapes, have some watermelon, have some cantaloupe, have a fruit bowl ready to go, and then you'll be fine within the next 3 to 4 minutes, because you need that in your body in order to keep going. So I'm very, very mindful of people that are around me, and I go, okay, you need this, you need this, you need this, and or cranberry juice. That'll hit your body really quick because it has the right amount of stuff in it. All right, let's see. Patricia Sommer says the risk is that the brain cannot feel pain. The brain tissue itself is not sensitive to pain because it lacks pain receptors. Rather, the pain is caused by disturbance of the pain-sensitive structures around the brain. 9 areas of the head and neck have these pain-sensitive structures, which are the cranium, the periosteum of the skull, muscles, nerves, arteries, and veins. Yeah, I will say this. Sometimes there's a warmness that you will feel in a place of your head, and if you feel like a warmness happening, that is your brain bleeding. Okay, it's good to understand that, because if you feel warmness in an area after suffering a fall in your head, you need to get checked out and just go, okay, because there are things they can do to alleviate it. It doesn't mean they're going to do brain surgery. It just means they're going to alleviate it, okay? And there are certain medications that they can give you right away in order for it to clog, because you need it to clog. That's why they say if you have blood thinners, when you hemorrhage in your brain, you bleed faster because your blood is so thin. That is what almost happened to my sister, which is why they said, do you want a blood transfusion? Because she's about to hemorrhage. Her platelets were going so far down, they said her brain is going to bleed out. I said, okay, good to know. And then we had to go next level. And that was all due to coronavirus alpha. So thankfully she, you know, through all the stuff that we did, her platelets went up. I keep talking about that end plates. She survived. She's alive to this day. Thank God. She's gotten coronavirus twice. Thank God she hasn't gotten it a third time. But in the news, very important, OM2 is on the rise, people. We talked about this the other day. And you need to be careful, okay? I know people don't want to hear it, but there's 4 variants of concern. And OM2 is not a good one, okay? A lot of people are wondering, I thought there was only one. There's not. There's 4 what they would call cousins. They're calling them subvariants. I don't call them subvariants. It sounds like, oh, like lesser than. It's not. OM2 is going to be worse than OM1. Here's the latest on that, and this is for all of you that are kind of following. It's gaining significant traction in parts of the world. Dr. Dorrit Nitzen, who's a World Health Organization doctor, said that it's likely to become dominant worldwide due to the high transmissibility. In other words, it spreads fast. They said the expected trajectory is that it will become the new dominant variant, as once it crosses past a certain threshold, it becomes dominant, like we're seeing in Denmark and the UK. Now, Denmark already talked about this. We talked about this, I think, last week, or was earlier on in this week. I can't remember. And it's already here. But when it spreads and they say it will become dominant, that means you're going to want to know, is it OM1? Is it OM2? Is it OM3? Or is it OM4? Okay, they all call these different things, but I guarantee you're going to want to know about this one. I have to take a huge break here on the show because my time is off of the radio, but I'm going to stay on. If you want to follow me at Aaron M. Sanchez. I'm going to talk a little bit about this as Algenia Kirsten says, yes, educate us. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I got to let Jesse go. Got to let the rest of the audience at ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM go. My time is off. Check out more programming right here. Download our app. It's free. KMET 1490 AM. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, for those of you tuning in still, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for tuning in. We have to let our radio audience go. That's my airtime done. Now I'm talking to you guys over there where we're doing a little after show here. Let's see. Genius says, I had that happen to a patient I dearly love, like my own granny. I felt her falling, sitting in a room nursing station. I just jumped up, running a block away. I ran down the hall. When I got there, she was curled up like a fetus. She was already dead from the fall. Oh, man. She was in the bathroom, fell, and hit her head on the bathroom sink. Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. I'm not going to lie. I think my grandma died. I think she hit a dresser. Her head hit a dresser. But she already suffered, I want to say, 3 seizures. So she was already to the point where she couldn't speak. And evidently, I believe the husband was in the other room, and he's the one that found her dead on the floor. Yeah, she said, Jehovah, no, that tore me up because I found her. Yeah, that's horrible. Thank you, Patricia. She says, great show, guys. Now, I'm going to talk about this really quick for those of you tuning in and listening, because it's very important information, okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? 1 is the one that we've been having to deal with over the last 3 months. Some would say 4 months. Some would say 5 months. I would say 3 months predominantly. Those are the ones that everybody have asked as of late have okay? Now, a lot of my friends have gotten okay from because they are more healthy than not, okay? Younger, I would say. But there's a lot of people that have died from and those numbers are still coming in. We've already passed the coronavirus number of 900,000 in the U.S., okay? And I want to remind people, this isn't a political move, but this is a political moment to know, even though presidents state a fact in their heads, does not mean it's going to be a fact forever. I remember when, and maybe some of you remember, when President Trump, before he got not elected, he said we're only going to have probably 125,000 dead. And he said it very publicly in an interview with George Stephanopoulos. I can never say his name. But when he had this interview, he said it as though it was just a thing. When I was like, but didn't you say every life matters? Now, the reason I say this isn't to say, okay, Biden's right, Trump is right, but the leaders need to pay attention. That was 2020, the end, right? We're here a year and a few months, 900,000 dead of coronavirus. Now, those of you that say, well, yeah, but the numbers might be fudged. Okay, 3 to 6%, I'll give you that. Take off that number, and you still have how many dead here in the U.S.? That's not the world. Okay, we are still not ahead of it, people. Now, let's talk about this. Here it is. OM1 is bad. And some, honestly, did not see it coming. We've been saying for the last 4 to 6 months, be ahead of it. The next dosage coming from Pfizer, and I think Moderna has one coming, is for OM. But it's for OM1. So the one that we're talking about right now is OM2. And it's different than OM1, even though it's called OM2. When they say it will become dominant, it's because they're already looking at the information from Denmark. They said the original OM variant, or OM1, that you're going to want to remember it as, was first detected in South Africa. And remember when that happened? In late November. And we said, oh, it's going to come here eventually. And it did. It came quick and fast. It's responsible for the majority of new cases in most countries. But 2 has spread in places such as South Africa, India, England, and Denmark, where it is now dominant. In other words, it's basically overtaken OM1. Now, in the U.S., 2 is circulating right now at a low level, but it's here. Okay? Let's wait on this. Accounting for less than 4% of new coronavirus cases. Right now. But if you look at history of where it's already been, back to these areas, South Africa, India, England, and Denmark, it's going to blow up within the next 3, weeks or months. I don't really know. I would say months. So, you need to know which you got. According to some of this news, public health experts say the variant appears to be between 30 and 34% more infectious than OM1. That's a big percentage. When they say infectious, meaning if you're around somebody who has it, you more likely are about to be infected because the way it gets transmitted from one person to another is in as little as 3 to 4 hours. All you have to do is spend 3 to 4 hours with one person who has OM2, and you're going to get it, especially if they wear no mask. Okay? That's not good. That means it's going to spread fast, it's going to be spreading quick, and it's going to probably spread longer because this one stays with you at least 3 to 4 weeks. This is why I hate the CDC. The fact that they're saying, oh, 5 days, 5 days, 5 days. 14 days was good, especially with this one. This one's going to spread so quick, so fast, which is why it becomes dominant. And that is the thing that we're going to be careful of. The Danish study found that 2 was relatively better than 1 at infecting vaccinated people. Did you get what I just said? Which indicates it has greater immune evasive properties. So I'm going to let you sit with that for a minute, okay? Vaccines are good. Vaccines are great. Vaccines are awesome when they are able to fight off the ones they are made for. This one does not care. It does not care about what vaccine you got. It does not care. That's according to the Danish study. It's evasive. It will, yeah, okay. So this is the one that we need to be very, very careful of, okay? I will say, get the Pfizer vaccine. That will help you against OM1. And it'll more than not help you with 2, 3, and 4 if you get it. But we're not ahead of it, people. When 2 becomes dominant here, we will know very soon, very quick, and very fast. Because there'll be more hospitalizations, there'll be more people suffering, there'll be more people saying, oh no, what do I do next for my loved one and or me? So, if you're in a family of 3 to 4, and one of you get 2, the chances of everyone getting it is 100%. Now, having said that, if you're 30 and above, you may be okay. If you're 30 and below, you may be okay. If you're 40 and above, you may be okay. If you're 50 and above, you may be okay. If you're 60 and above, you may be okay. But if you have certain conditions, no. So, be careful of your loved ones. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Now, this one is so quick and fast, you don't even know you have it until 3 to 4 days later when you start exhibiting certain symptoms of, weird, what are you going to exhibit? That research is still being done. People are still trying to figure it out, but they are not hopeful yet because there is no vaccine for this one. It's resistant against the vaccines. That's the problem with this one. They say data is still limited because it's so new. It's uncertain what impact it will have on the future of the pandemic. I will say it's going to keep it going for another, I hate to say this, at least a year. They say booster shots are the best way to protect yourself. In other words, get ahead of it. But by recent UK data, it showed booster protection against 2. Let's see, against. The numbers are still coming in. So what we need to get through this time is immunity. If we got a booster, it would help raise our antibodies, stave off even mild infections. So getting boosters is an important strategy. The problem with that strategy is it's bad news. And I'm gonna help you guys with this really quick, okay? And just use your thinking minds really quick. The reality is people are going to get sick. People are going to keep getting sick, and people are going to keep getting sick eventually if they keep thinking this way. Vaccines do not create cures. They help your body in the time allotted for your body, okay? The average vaccine is good, and just ask your doctor, say, how many months is this good for? And the right ones will say, well, it's actually good for up to 6 months, okay? Do the research. If you got a shot 6 months ago, well, then you should be borderline good. If you got it a year ago, and that's the last one you got, you're going to need to get another one. Does that make sense? Okay. They're only good for so long in the body. So they help you, but they don't cure you. Very important to know that. Okay. They help you, but they do not cure you. Even I know this. Okay. I got the Johnson & Johnson shot. My mom got the Johnson & Johnson shot. I will say the spring edition and the fall edition. All right. But the next one coming up, I said, Mom, you're getting the Pfizer one, okay? I don't care because Johnson & Johnson is going to be delayed by about 4 months. The Pfizer one's already been working on 1. But if somebody has 2, I don't want her to hang around that person. Do you understand? Because she is already susceptible. She's in the high-risk category. Now, the good news is she's been able to be okay with being home, and she finds herself being busy with things, and she finds herself just being okay with Zoom calls with her friends, right? But if her friends got coronavirus 2, 3, or 4, I'd say do not hang around them until they get well. Just stay on Zoom, okay? So back to testing. Testing is going to be very important in the next 3 to 4 weeks because you're going to want to know which one do you have. The coronavirus tests right now are only good, honestly, for seeing if you have coronavirus. But there are certain tests that are very specific of which coronavirus you have. And you want to know ahead of time. That way you know how to progress. Some hospitals are doing the right thing. Some hospitals are wanting to do the right thing. And some hospitals just are trying to catch up. No case is always the same, especially if you have pre-existing conditions, okay? And some people don't even know they have pre-existing conditions until something gets really bad. I keep going back to the one that we had to bury several weeks ago. She died at a very young age, at 28, spitting up blood with coronavirus. Her kidneys, not good, okay? But for a 28-year-old, they weren't that bad. It worsened them. It worsens the body, well, whatever you want to call it, the tissue of the body inside, not just the lungs anymore. It attacks the body from within, and it suffers parts of the body, depending on what variant you have. She had a combination strain. She had a Delta and variant. So that can happen, and that has been happening. So don't think if you just have, like, Alpha, you can't get Beta. If you have Beta, you can't get Delta. If you have Delta, you can't get Lambda. If you have Lambda, you can't get If you have 1, you can't get 3. You can't think like that. When they combine in the body, they make it worse. All right. Now, recently, there's news about a deer that got sick with coronavirus. But they've been talking about that. It goes back and forth between humans and animals, which is why all these variants are popping up. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there is no shot right now for animals. They have vaccine shots for flu, but they don't have coronavirus shots because they just don't have that. All right, will they have that sooner than later? I feel the answer is no. They're only working with humans right now. Human biology is different than animal biology, and animal biology is just all over the place. Okay, every animal is different. A squirrel is completely different than a dog. A dog is different than a cat. Cats are different than ferrets. Okay, deer are completely different than lions. Okay, and all of these can get sick at any given time. Okay, so be careful with that. Let's see. So you guys are tuning in. Okay, let's see what we're saying. Gina says, I'm just tuning in about 8 minutes, just taking lunch. We have to be safe. Wear a mask. Yeah. And I will say this is the dumbest moment in time where now they're being like, okay, no need to wear face masks. I won't say face masks because people are burglarizing other people. But, I'll say a safety mask, right? For us not to spit at each other and or cough on each other, and or breathe in other particles, which 2, 3, and 4 are going to definitely spread around. But they're basically going to say within the next few weeks, I think it starts February, 15th, in a few days, no longer do you have to wear face masks on the inside. Well, that sells to the wrong people, the wrong thing at the wrong time, at the wrong variant of concern. So I guarantee more people are going to be sick. Okay, I would not go by the way of that because then I'll probably in about 3 to 4, months, all of a sudden, whoop, back to face mandate. You're like, people, this is how you stress everybody out. Okay, seriously. Don't wear it, do wear it, don't wear it, do wear it, don't wear it, do wear it. Why are we complicating it about that? If you're still alive, thank God, man. Right? You limit your chances. I'm not saying if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4, you're going to be with the face mask not getting 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm just saying you're going to limit your chances by a good 80%, anywhere from 60 to 80% if you wear it more than not. Right? There is no 100% proof. Back to vaccines, there's no 100% proof. It just isn't. Okay, and some of you know that. Some of you have had coronavirus and had a vaccine. And hopefully you got well from it because you're still here to tell the tale. And some of you have that long haul coronavirus. I know because I met a few people in person. And they said, I still feel bad. And that was a year ago. I go, interesting. Which is why you don't want to get it. You don't want to even tamper with it. You don't want to be like some of the kids out there that go, let's go to coronavirus parties. I was weirded out that was the thing. But evidently some people are like, no, we'll get them in quicker and faster. I'm like, oh, God, you're so dumb. You're going to give it to everybody else. That's the problem. So if you have a family of 3 or 4 and you have that child that is the teenager of the group that goes, hey, I do not care. Guess what? You're all getting out. All right, so be very, very mindful and just be vigilant. Let's see. Patricia says the concern is a variant will come along that spreads fast and causes more severe illness. Vaccinations are the hope to stop it and related mutations variants. It doesn't stop it. That's the sad part. And that's what they've been discussing. How long? Now, back to Trump. Trump and a lot of people were talking about herd immunity. Herd immunity, everybody has thrown out as of late because it varies in so many ways. There is not a one size yet. Now, do I believe there is one that can help us, or an immunization that can help us? I believe the answer is yes. I believe they're working on it behind the scenes. I see that there's hope in Texas, actually, with a clinic which is offering a lot of information for free. Okay, they're ahead of it. There are some organizations in Thailand which actually are going plant-based. And on enough, they're using some really interesting stuff in order to be ahead of it, because they want to get to the root of it, which is basically what coronavirus is at the root. But you have to get through the layers first. You got to break down the layers of the outside, which is why these variants are worse. It's harder. Just as variants want to fight. They basically want to stay alive. Okay, think of them like a person, and a person doesn't want to be dead. They fight. So they mutate, get stronger, and that's what we're having to deal with. So we're getting worse strains than the first ones that came out, if that makes any sense. That's why you want to practice safe distancing. That's why you want to wash your hands. That's why you don't want to be around somebody that's right all day long. That's why you want to be like, I'm going to stand back right now. That's why you want to be safe. That's why you want to take precaution. That's why I'm glad here in California, it's official. They signed it in this September, I think, 22nd, 2022. Up till then, they have extended stay-at-home reimbursement for employers to help people out. Okay, so they provided that. Again, I think you have to be a business of 20 and above or 22 and above. I can't remember what the number is. But you have the ability to stay home, prove that you have coronavirus, and get reimbursed for that, I think, up to 14 days, which is the official, original number of how long they wanted you to quarantine for so you don't spread it. Okay? Now, OM2 can be spread still 3 to 4 weeks later, and that's the news we're going to start seeing in the next several days. Okay, so that's why I'm saying on this thing, be ahead of it. Still, don't go by the way of, I'm going to be fine, or coronavirus is still alive, or it's all a thing to control us. Well, if you've buried anybody or know anybody that's buried anybody, is very, Delta, all these things are very real. All of them are, okay? And usually you never know which one the person has because nobody cares to ask, or nobody checks out the blood work, or nobody checks out the number system. But they just know, they died of coronavirus. So that's the part I go, you as a family need to be very aware of it ahead of time and just know what you're going to experience, and then know, hey, go to the doctors, get it taken care of, and then be ahead of it. Now, I will say, I am one to say, get a vaccination better than not. Just do your study on it. I'm not the person that says, mandate that. Because everybody's different, okay? And there are reactions to different ones, okay? There are some that get out, and then studies show later, so you go, well, which one should I have done, right? Just like medication, you have to do your research. Sometimes you just take what the doctor tells you, and then you find out 3 to 4 years later, great, now you have, a stroke or diabetes or something, and then you look at your pills, and then the lawyer stuff comes out that says, so, just so you know, this pill causes that. And then you do the research, you go, oh, thanks, appreciate that. Yeah, so you got to do your research, right? That's what I say. Be educated on what you're going to do. Rosalie says, I have yet to send my boys back to school since winter break. My youngest got an email that 40 classes were at risk from exposure. Oh, really? 40 classes were at risk from exposure. There are a third of teachers out with COVID in our district. Can't risk them. Bring something to my dad. You know what? Good job, Rosalie. Now, Rosalie, for those of you tuning in, she's on Facebook right now talking. If you're on LinkedIn and or Twitter or anywhere else or Instagram, she is 100% right on this, okay? She says, can't risk them, bring something to my dad, okay? She has, even though they didn't want her to, kept them home safely, okay? That's a smart mom. And certain areas are starting to say, hey, wait a minute. If it's picking up here, why are you making my kid go back to school when they can get it very quickly and fast? Yeah, they might be young, but they're not immune to viruses. They can get a cold, they could get a flu, they could get anything and bring it home. So Rosalie's using her thinking mind. Thank goodness, all right? So I'm glad you got that update. I bet you feel pretty good about yourself right now, right? Yeah, I would. I'd be like, look, we're going to do at-home classes. And it's very easy to do at-home classes and make that mandatory. You just have to step up and say, hey, by the way, I want at-home classes. I want my kid to be an at-home student. And you could do that. Any parent can. My parents did that when I was I was a freshman. 10th grade. Okay. And they have programs like that. You just go in 2 to 3 days, you turn in your paperwork, but you just say, look, I want to do it, virtually, or I just want to do it at home. You could do that. And do it temporarily. Don't do it mandatory all throughout. Because I think we're gonna get ahead of this within the next 3 years. Okay. So, I know people hate it when I say that, but when you plan for that, then you just put on your thinking mind and go, okay, this is a new norm for now until it isn't. That's what I say. Kind of like war. If war starts, it's like, how long is the war going to last? It can't be that long. Let's see. Patricia says 4 to 6 months protection from the booster. Yes, there you go. If possible, N95 NIOSH approved mask. Yes, and I've been saying that ever since 2020 when it first came out. I immediately invested in N95 masks. There are KN95 masks. I told everybody they're pretty much the same thing. I did the research. I thought they were knockoffs. They're not knockoffs if you get them from the right supplier. Okay, and then get UV boxes. I'll show you one. I keep saying I will, and then you put it in there, clean it, scrub it, and you're good to go for longer than and they last longer that way, so you don't keep spinning. She says, should have said would help control the spread, slow it, knowing boosters or less. Yeah. It helps the person who has it, but it doesn't help everyone, because if you get it, you hopefully will be helped with it. Your chances are much lower, significantly lower, and some of them 80% to 90%. Okay, more ahead of it. So you will still have it, but you can still give it to others, which is why I say the 5-day rule that CDC came with is the stupidest thing. 14 days made more sense to other people that didn't know how bad it would be eventually. They really didn't think it was a big thing. But now, if you look at the history of where we were in 2020, at the beginning of it, I feel all of us didn't understand when they announced it. And I remember, because I remember seeing it on the news, when the announcement came from the World Health Organization, we have a pandemic. I was like, okay, but when everybody went into lockdown mode, I was like, okay, and then I was like, wait, this is going to get worse. And then I moved my mom up to Victorville, where I was doing the TV show at the time, and everything was all set against everybody because it became a political grab. Well, political has come and gone. We still have coronavirus here that we still have to last through. We have buried our friends. So the political part, goodbye, right? Thank God. But we're having to deal with the aftermath, and the aftermath is still here. It is not what it was touted up. Oh, it's this and that. So all those conversations, I go, you didn't have to bury people with coronavirus. I did. Okay, I had to know good people die from this, and they died so quick. It was like, here today, gone tomorrow with one of them. It was so fast. And I remember visiting from before. I said, hey, you need to get rest. And then all of a sudden, she's in the hospital, disoriented, no oxygen to the brain properly. And she had, I think, Delta. Maybe Delta Plus, not sure. And she was gone within 3 to 4 weeks. And it was like that. And she left behind a daughter who was her only daughter, who didn't even graduate yet and had the worst time at her graduation because she didn't have her mom there to say, good job. That's sad. Yeah, a lot of families are suffering from this. So if you have a family member, go check in on them and say, you know what, I'm still alive. I want to take care of you. Okay? Be that person. Thank God she has a boyfriend. Oh, my God. Yeah, he loves her to death. Stephanie Reed says, I never had COVID and had worse of an abscess tooth because I could have died from an abscess tooth and was weeping in pain and could not eat or drink anything hot. The same one that had a root canal and a filling and a crown recently. Yeah. Well, Stephanie, you have something that I had, and somebody warned me, if you don't take care of it, you could be suffering in your brain. Because evidently, if you don't take care of it, and you have an opening, anything can and will infect, and then it goes up into your brain. I've had 3 people tell me that. I go, good to know. So I eventually had to take the plunge, go to the dentist, get it taken care of. Painfully later, 3 days, I said, okay, glad I got it done, right? I still have it. No tooth. There you go. So better get it taken care of and be ahead of it, right? That's why I say take care of it, okay? If you have problems breathing, if you have lack of oxygen, if you have friends that are taking care of you, make sure you are not the person to say, oh, I'll be fine. Go to the doctors, okay? They have things that can help you. Worst case scenario, they have to admit you. Worst case scenario, you need 24/7 care. People at home cannot do that, okay? Just be aware of it, okay? Especially with OM1, OM2, OM3, and OM4. These are the really, really silent killers, and they're going to come quick, they're going to come fast, and you won't even see it coming, okay? So this is not the time to be relaxed about it. It just isn't, all right? All right, people, I just want to say thank you for making your day with us. Remember, spread good information, keep positive, and know we can get through this. On the other side of this, we just have to stay safe in the meantime. All right. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for making a great day with us. We'll see you tomorrow right here on The Morning Show. Bye-bye, everyone.